Michael, you're the CEO of Peoplecare, one of the leading private health insurers in Australia. It's an absolute honour to have you here. Where I want to start is going back a few decades. One of the things that drew me to you initially was the fact that you were promoted to a senior role at an incredibly young age, and it's a role that you still hold to this day. But I want to understand the mind of a 29-year-old Michael, who was handed the title of CEO.
Through a matter of circumstances, this opportunity arose. I wasn't really interested, didn't think I was ready for that at that point, But I thought I would go through the process, a recruitment or interview process for a bit of experience. And of course, then when the job was offered, you think, oh my goodness, what now, Now, admittedly, they're a very small organisation, so I think that enabled me to get involved sort of at the grassroots. So even though you were the CEO, then everybody had to pitch in. So I think I learnt a lot on the ground.
At any point did you think, I can't do it?
Look, I don't think a case of sort of saying, no, I can't do it, but appreciating that there would still be a lot to learn and a lot to think about. But I think a lot of those things were not so much, technical skills or technical knowledge, but it's actually the art of leadership and the art of managing a team or a group of people, not just a company.
What for you are the qualities of a leader?
I think it's about building an effective team, recognising skills and qualities, because we place a great emphasis on values and behaviours, capacity to work as a team, and diversity of thinking. Because I think you don't want people to be yes people. You want them to challenge you, challenge the status quo.
I don't know if you've read Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. I'm sure you probably have. And something that stuck with me was where he talks about the companies that go from good to great get the right people on the bus. And you get people on the bus sometimes not even knowing what their role is, but the values and behaviour are there. And the company that popped into my mind the minute I read that was yours, because I've never seen a culture like it. It's almost like walking into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and everyone's happy and everyone's cohesive, very clear on their role, but all striving towards a common goal. What is the secret?
It comes then back right from the very start of a recruitment process and saying, well, what are we actually looking for in new people? And we do strive for looking at, the values and the behavioural qualities we think are inherent in somebody ahead of a technical skill. Now sometimes you can't do that absolutely, because you might want a qualified accountant or an IT professional or something, but you still don't want people in the business if they don't match the culture. If there was one word to describe why I think Peoplecare is successful today, I think it's been the ability and willingness to collaborate.
I observe you from the outside and I watch what you do. And again, back to Good to Great, Jim Collins talks about levels of leadership. And you were a level 5 leader without a doubt. If people haven't read the book, they should read it and they'll go, I get what she means. But yeah, it's that just humbleness, and it's about the greater good. It's never about you. And I know as the person that works with you on public relations how resistant you are to doing even things like this, and I understand that, but you do it anyway.
I think that to some extent gets instilled in you from parents and very young age. And my parents were normal people. They were business operators in a small country town, and had great values themselves. And I, from that day, I can't say to this because my dad's passed away now, but from their whole life, I never ever once heard a disagreement or an argument between them, or raised voices, not once.
Wow.
So we were in a very sort of calm, enjoyable place, and they were pretty quiet and humble people too. So I think sometimes that rubs off.
What did you want to be growing up? What's your first memory of saying I want to be?
I was going to be a golf professional when I first growing up. I was reasonably successful when I was very young. I think quickly realised that when you got involved then at sort of reasonable level at sport, and then you find there's these 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 people who are much better than you are, you quickly come to realisation that's not going to happen. But I then expected to be a physical education teacher, so I had a scholarship actually to the then Wollongong Teachers College. Surprise of all. But I think I was, I don't know, in some ways destined to do something in business or finance or something. So, and I think I came to a conclusion I'd probably want to earn more money than that. So,
what are you most grateful for?
Well, I think two things. You know, I've been, I think, fortunate and grateful to have had, you know, an opportunity to be involved in running, you know, an organisation for a long period of time. One that's been challenging, rewarding, even exciting at times, you know, and what some people might say this is not a very exciting industry, but we've been able to make a real difference, you know, and not just a difference to business, but we make a difference every day to people's lives, you know, because people that we deal with are often in quite vulnerable situations, you know, that within their life they might be sick or a family member sick, so you can actually help people in that context. But purely from at more at a personal level, you know, I'm grateful I've got, you know, 4 great kids and all grown up now, and 8 grandchildren who are also growing up rapidly, and you know, a great home life with you know, with my wife and our dog, you know. So
Life's good.
Life's, you know, really pretty good.
Yeah. Do you have a saying or a motto or something that you live by that guides your decisions?
Well, yeah, look, historically I've not been a great one for sort of sayings or that, but I think I might have reflected on with you before that, you know, I do remember from, you know, again, a young age, relating to a saying that Gary Player used to comment always, which was, it's funny how, you know, that the harder you work, the luckier you get, you know. So I think, again, it's about applying yourselves, being, you know, but again, considerate of the environment you're in and the people you're with. But, you know, if you've got, you know, high energy, commitment to the cause, and are really passionate about something, then you'll make that happen, you know. Yeah. So I think it's about the hard work, but, you know, you can be lucky, but I think sometimes you make your own luck.
I totally agree.
You know, so
yes.
Nobody's going to hand luck to you on a platter. You've got to work for it, but I think you can legitimately then earn that, and have a right to a bit of luck.
Luck's the side dish. The hard work's the main.
Exactly, but so, you know, think, well, if that little bit of good luck's come my way, well, it's not because it's just been handed to me.
So I had the privilege of sitting with you for an hour in your office, and aside from all the brilliant gems you gave me that I took away and wrote down, I remember how neat it was. And I've observed that about people in very senior positions when I'm privy to a CEO's office, that it is just incredibly neat. So my question to you is this: is it neat when you open the cupboards, or is everything shoved in there and you open them and it all falls out? Because my desk is a tip, so I aspire to a neat desk. What's the secret there?
Look, I think it's a bit of a mixture, to be honest. I'm a bit of a hoarder, so I'm not great at sort of getting rid of things. So yes, there'll be an element of open the cupboard and there'll be things there that probably shouldn't be there.
Thank goodness.
But I am a bit anal about detail. So I think, generally speaking, I'm a pretty neat and tidy person.
Do you have any daily rituals? And the reason I ask that is you're obviously very busy. There's a lot in your head. You have a family. There's, you know, even though your children are grown up, there's still, you know, priorities and commitments. What do you do to keep yourself centred and sane?
Look, I think, again, very generally, I'm pretty calm, I think. I'm not a ranter and a raver, so I'm pretty calm generally. But in terms of routine, much to my wife's disgust, I think, but I'm an early morning newspaper reader.
Okay.
And today being digital environment, so, you know, you wake up and the iPad comes out, and I'll read probably 3 newspapers before I'll get out of bed.
Okay.
and if I find myself, some might say stressed, but I think generally speaking tired, but not being able to relax, if I read something like that, then it'll quickly relax me, So if I woke up really early and, how am I get back to sleep? And I would read a little bit, then I'll fall asleep, So I think the mornings are more about sort of an insatiable appetite for sort of news and current affairs and things like that. I'm not a novel reader at all, not a book reader per se, but I read copious amounts of news things, I find it interesting, when people say, how do people, what's the best way for people to manage their days? Particularly, with emails and everything else, and you hear theories about, well, just park it all over, to one side and set aside time for doing that. But I'm the real opposite. I mean, if something comes in, I react to it straight away. So I will work on 2, 3, 4 things at the same time.
I have noticed that about you.
Now, whether that's good or bad, I'm not sure, but
it's good that when it's the person sending it, it's like, oh, I've got a response. Awesome.
Yeah. So I sort of like to be really responsive. And I find that works for me, that I would rather do that way. If I park something, I still want to know about what is it. So maybe it's sort of a, I don't mean a nervousness, but it might be something it's this, desire to know rather than just parking something and leaving it, I can't do that. I've got to know what's there,
And there's golf, which is your yoga.
Yeah, I play golf Saturdays at Wollongong, and I'll do a lot more of that in the future. Look, I enjoy just getting outside. I actually enjoy gardening, so I like pottering around at home and doing that. We enjoy travelling, so when the time comes to finish, that's probably where most of the energies will be. It'll be sort of family things, travel, golf, bit of gardening. I like a bit of photography too, so I'll do a bit of that.
Sounds perfect.
I don't think I have trouble filling in the time somehow. So.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Last question, if there's young people that are watching you speak, what advice can you give, bearing in mind that they're entering a world that is very different to the one that you did when you were made CEO in your 20s? Yeah. What's the number one piece of advice you can give them?
The more you can find something that you're really passionate about, then if you're lucky enough to get into that position, then that'll be the best thing you can ever do. Because if you find something you really like doing or are passionate about, it's not a job anymore. It just becomes something that you want to do because it's either good, it's interesting, it's challenging, or it's fun. And so I think if you can do that, that'd be the best thing I could suggest to anybody. Really follow the heart. And I've had a bit of that happen with my own kids, that they've found niches that they really enjoy, and they've sort of single-mindedly gone after that. And, they're successful for that reason. So that makes you proud as well. That's one of those other proud moments that. If your own children sort of make their own, their way in life, and not that they have to be super successful, but if they're, comfortable in their own domain or in what they really enjoy doing, then you can't ask for much more than that. So,
no, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Your advice is spot on, and I think it's timeless. It's relevant to anyone. My grandfather was a very successful businessman. He headed up the Illawarra County Council for many years, and then Integral Energy, and he always said to me, Tresh, find something you love and make money from it, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
And it took me to my late 30s to figure that one out and make it happen, but it's so true.
But every day's not work, is it? So,
this is not work.
No.
This is fun.
Yeah. I've got a pretty high energy level, pretty high capacity to work through the pain barrier.
Well, thank you, Michael. It's
been
an
absolute delight. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the opportunity.
And I look forward to watching where you go next.
Yeah,
thank you,
very
Michael.
Good.